Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. It's time for another episode of Time Capsule. That's when I show you my favorite albums of the year. I am up to 2001. I'm doing it in 10-year increments. The one I did before this was 1991. So 2001, I own 116 albums that came out that year. There's a lot of good ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I got about 50 that I'm going to show you quickly, and then at the end of the video, I'll show you my top 10 based on how much I played them. Now, in addition to 116 albums, I got 4 box sets that came out this year. So let's start with those. We got the Buffalo Springfield box set. It's a really cool, obviously hugely comprehensive box considering they didn't release that much material in their lifetime. But if you want everything pretty much by the Buffalo Springfield, it's here. They do repeat stuff on here. Really excellent collection from a great band. Legendary band for sure. I love this one. I hope this doesn't fall. This is Simon and Garfunkel, the complete studio recordings, 1964 to 1970. You get each of their studio albums with bonus tracks. It's all right here, folks. This is all you need. I don't know if this thing is still available, but this is a great box set. Came out in 2001, as did all of these. This is an amazing box set. Don't you fall, Kiss. This is the Grateful Dead, the first of 2 boxes. The other one's up there. This is the Golden Road, 1965 to 1973. This is a magnificent box, and you get a beautiful, beautiful book, full color, the whole history for that, and you get each one of their albums all loaded with bonus tracks and gorgeous booklets, and you get them all in here, and this is an incredible box set. And then the other one up there is 73 to 89. But this is the early Dead, and if you just want to see, it's even got collections like Bear's Choice, so there's American Beauty, and Working Man's Dead, and Skull and Roses, and Europe 72. So you get the studio stuff, live stuff, compilation stuff, beautiful book, all loaded with deluxe booklets and bonus tracks. Wow, what a box set this one is. Let's keep going. The Kiss box set that came out that I thought was going to fall. This is actually a pretty cool box set too. 5 CDs. And really nicely packaged. There was a huge version of this, I think, with a guitar case. But this is the normal one. Really, really big book. With annotated, notes from the guys in the band. Nice CDs. Great stuff. So 4 really, really excellent box sets that they came out in 2001. I'm getting smart, guys. I don't want the stuff to fall. All right, let's dig into the CDs. I got about 50 of them over here. I'm going to try to go through them quick. Don't want this video to be too long. In alphabetical order. This is kind of a different one. It's not really a favorite of mine. It's certainly not in my favorite live album list, but you don't see this too often. 10cc live in Japan, and this came out in 2001, and it's kind of cool. This is another cool one. I do not do greatest hits, you'll notice, in the best ofs. Very, very rare. But this is kind of a cool collection of a band called The Action. It's called Action Packed, and the Action were from like 65 to 67, a mod band, mostly covers as you can see, but it's kind of a cool collection. And then this was a great album. Ryan Adams, Gold, and this was his second album. Personally, I think it's his best, and this is a 2 CD edition, and this is the second disc is called Side 4. It's got like an extra 5 tracks on it. But this is a killer album. Like I said, I think it's his best album. You know, New York, Firecracker. I mean, this has got so many great songs. La Cienega, Just Smiled. When the Stars Go Blue. Yeah, this is just a tremendous Ryan Adams album. Gold. Aerosmith. They put out Just Push Play. A lot of people thought it was an improvement over 9 Lives. I thought it was okay. Some of the, not great songwriting on this album, but I did really like the single Jaded. Just Put Play's interesting. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good Aerosmith album, I thought. This was a great album. I love this album. My favorite album by this band called Ash, Free All Angels. You could find this album out there in the wild for pretty cheap, and if you ever do, you should definitely pick it up. This is a deluxe edition of it with a DVD, but this is just a great, great band. I think they were from Ireland, and this is one of those albums that Across the Pond was huge. Walking Barefoot, Shining Light, Burn Baby Burn, Candy. These are all incredible songs. Someday, Sometimes, amazing record. Really catchy, great stuff. You'll love it, I'm telling you. The Black Crowes came back with Lions. I thought this was a okay album. They stretched out a little bit. I think it was produced by Don Was, if I remember right. Again, a little jammy, a little, I don't know. I just thought the songs weren't as tight as they had been on their early records. But, soul singing, it's a fine record for sure. Let's keep going. Blackmore's Night. This was a really good record from that band, Fires at Midnight. And Richie actually took out his Stratocaster, and there's a great, great guitar solo on the title track, Fires at Midnight. If you want to hear Blackmore's Night with some balls, check out the title track, Fires at Midnight. It's killer. Great guitar solo. But Hanging Trees, Storm, they do a cover of Dylan's Times They Are Changing, which is okay. This is a good Blackmore's Night album. One of their last really, really strong ones, I thought. Let's keep going. Blue Oyster Cult released their last studio record until their most recent one. And this was The Curse of the Hidden Mirror. And good track. The good album. The opening track, Dance on Stilts, man. What a great track that is. But overall, this was a pretty strong record. I thought it was better than the one that came before it, Heaven Forbid. And again, this was their last studio record for a long time. I don't put greatest hits collections in typically, but this was an interesting one from David Bowie. It was called All Saints, and it's a collection of a lot of his instrumentals, mostly from Low and Heroes, but actually from other albums as well. So if you like David Bowie's instrumental stuff, you get most of it right here, and it's kind of an interesting collection that I wanted to show you. Garth Brooks released a strong record from him called Scarecrow. I don't hear too many people talking about this one, but this is definitely one of his better ones, I thought. This was after that Chris Gaines fiasco that he put out. But a lot of really good tracks on here. The Storm, and a good mixture of ballads and almost Eagles kind of stuff. Obviously, he's an Eagles fan, and definitely could hear some Eagles stuff. Leonard Cohen released 10 new songs, and an interesting one because you could see on the cover, it's kind of a duets album with, what was her name? I think she wrote most of the songs with him. Sharon Robinson? This is an interesting record because she sweetens the sound. It's a little bit lush. Sharon Robinson. She produced it, sings on it, wrote a lot of the songs with him. Good collection if you like Leonard Cohen, and a little bit different too. Definitely not one of my favorite albums. I was kind of disappointed, but I'm a huge Charlie Daniels Band fan. Been waiting for them to release a great live record. And the only really good one, they released an archive one from '74 recently, and I have a lot of the Volunteer Jam stuff. But this is as close as you get to a Charlie Daniels Band live one, really. And it covers a whole gambit of his stuff. It even got some covers like Take the Highway and A Memory of Elizabeth Reed and Freebird, kind of unessential. But I figured I'd mention it. Bob Dylan released a follow-up to his big comeback album. This is the follow-up, Live, Love and Theft, and it's a real good record as well. He was on a roll. Next one after this was Modern Times, another really good one. But this one with Mississippi and Summer Days and By and High Water. Yeah, good, strong record. Not as good as Time Out of Mind, which was the comeback one, but in my opinion, but still really strong. That year also, they came out with this thing. I don't know if you could find this, but this is pretty cool. Live 1961 to 2000, 39 years of great concert performances. This is a fun live collection if you could find it, because it kind of covers all throughout his career, and it flows really well. Even though his voice changes, and a lot of it is unreleased live stuff. Cool collection. Hard to find, I think. Mick Jagger released his, what was this? His third one, right? Got Us in the Doorway. Keith Richard, in his own inimitable way, called it Dog Shit in the Doorway. Not fair, Keith. It's not nearly as bad as you think it is. It's actually pretty damn good. It's just not great. But Goddess in the Doorway's got some great songs. I love the opener, Visions of Paradise, and Dancing in the Starlight's a good one. God Gave Me Everything, the one that I did with Lenny Kravitz, I thought was killer. Thought it was going to be a hit. Of course it wasn't. And Don't Call Me Up. If you never heard that song, man, that song is amazing. It's not a great album, but it's got great stuff on it. Too Far Gone's another great song. Elton John released a really strong album. I was blown away by how good this one was. Songs from the West Coast. And this album, to me, sent me right back to that classic Elton John period, Tumbleweed Connection and Madman Against the Water. And this is just a phenomenal record. It really, really is. This Train Don't Stop Here anymore, the last track. But it just flows from beginning to end. The Emperor's New Clothes. This was a surprise to me how great this album was. And he was on a roll, because the one after this and the one after that, he kept going. Great record. The Knack came back with this album called Normal Is the Next Guy. Biggest problem with this album is the cover. The graphics are horrendous. I don't know what the hell their art department was thinking. But there's a lot of really good tracks on here. One Day at a Time, 7 Days of Heaven is phenomenal. World of My Own. They get a little weird. Normal Is the Next Guy. The title tracks are kind of strange. But it's a good record. Luna released a fun live record. If you know Luna. Really cool band. Dean Wareham, Britta Phillips. And this is a really good live collection of a lot of their best songs. Bewitched, Sideshow, Pump 10, Tiger Lily. Yeah, this is really, really good. And my favorite is the cover of Bonnie and Clyde. This is a really good live record. One of my favorite albums, you'll see where it falls for sure, is this one. I got two different versions of it. Shelby Lynn released her album Love Shelby. It did not get critical acclaim because of the cover, and they said she was trying to go commercial. Hell, that's okay. It is commercial, and it's fucking great. This is Love Shelby, and this was the advanced copy. And that's the reason why I got two versions of it, because the advanced copy, they went back, the record company, and changed to the official release a little bit different. But it is just loaded with great, great songs. If you don't know Shelby Lynn, this album from beginning to end is just great. Trust Me, and Jesus on a Greyhound. Wall in Your Heart is incredible. Killing Kind. Mother, she does a version of the John Lennon classic, Tarpoli and Napoleon. This is a tremendous album. Don't listen to the critics who say, oh, it went commercial. And actually, the album was a dismal failure, so it wasn't quite commercial. Manic Street Preachers. I can't really talk about this album. I've only heard it once, and it's not officially in my database yet, because I have to hear it 5 times. But this is Know Your Enemy. I'm working on this one. John Mayer, he released his debut album, and Room for Squares. Good record. Guy, obviously, massive talent, great player, and Your Body is a Wonderland. What an amazing song that is. But this was a really strong debut from a young guy who clearly was overflowing with skill and talent and a great guitar player. Paul McCartney, he released Driving Rain. To me, it was another one of those, kind of long. Maybe he experimented a little bit, and some of the tracks were long, but 15 tracks for me was a bit long. And then you got the surprise track, which was Freedom, which I thought was the best track on the album. So, I don't know. Driving Rain, to me, just okay. I, again, don't really like to talk about greatest hits. I don't include them. But this was a pretty special release from McCartney. It came out that year as well. And this was Wingspan. And this was what I wanted in a collection from McCartney. You got the hits on one disc, and you got history on the other, some of the deeper cuts. I think originally this was supposed to be a box set with like unreleased stuff, but he just went this way. But it was fine. This is a really good, I think the best McCartney compilation. John Mellencamp released another strong record that year, Cutting Heads, and had some help from some guest people. I thought he was going to have a huge hit with that song, Peaceful World, which had India Arie on there. But, yeah, this is a really good record. And I like Mellencamp. He keeps them short. This is like a 40-minute record, give or take, and it just flows well. So, good job, Cutting Heads from John Mellencamp. Another album I can't really judge because I haven't heard it 5 times yet, but it's pretty good. Another interesting record from Mogwai came out that year. This is called Rock Action. It's a work in progress for me. Mostly Autumn released an album that year, and this is The Last Bright Light. I actually got this after I got introduced to them through their live record, the story so far, and the best tracks on it are on that, but you get some great tracks. Dark Before the Dawn, Never the Rainbow, Shrinking Violet is incredible, and the epic Mother Nature. Great stuff from Mostly Autumn. Stevie Nicks, I thought Belladonna was one of the greatest debuts ever, and then after that, her solo career started getting a little iffy, and then she put this one out called Trouble in Shangri-La. She had a lot of help. I think Sheryl Crow was on like 5 songs on this thing, and she got some other help from other people, and it worked. It's a Stevie Nicks album, so she gets the credit and deserves it, but man, this album, really from beginning to end, is really strong. Sorcerer, Planets of the Universe. Yeah, this is a really, really strong Stevie Nicks album. No Doubt was now Superstars, and this is their second to last release. This is Rocksteady. So I picked it up. Don't listen to it too much, but you know, Hella Good was huge, and Hey Baby, and Underneath It All. Big, big record from them. They only released one more album after that. Overseas, a band that doesn't get much respect and is unknown pretty much in this country, but Ocean Color Scene is a big band that I love. They actually play with Paul Weller, a lot of the guys in the band. Mechanical Wonder, another strong release from them. If you don't know them, check out the song Up on the Downside. You'll be thanking me. That song is impossible not to love, and Mechanical Wonder is a really great song. And if you like those two, check out the rest of the album, and you will like those two, I guarantee it. They're a really good band. A mod pop kind of throwback kind of band to like that late 60s, early 70s rock. Carla Olson, well, she released The Ring of Truth, another album that she did with Mick Taylor. Album got some publicity because they did a cover of Winter, the Stones track, one of my all-time favorite Stones tracks from Goat's Head Soup, and they stretched it out for over 12 minutes with Mick Taylor going on and on with the guitar solo, and everybody was saying the Stones should have done that. I don't think so. The Stones version is a billion times better, no offense, with the publicity, but it's still cool to hear their version of Winter. But there's a lot of great tracks on this album. Loserville, Never Fade Away, The Ring of Truth, Locked Up Tight. There's Can You Please Crawl Out Your Window, the Dylan track, and some guests on there as well. Good record from Carla Olson. Again, I don't really like to talk about compilations too much, but this one is just essential. Came out that year, the Graham Parsons Anthology, Sacred Hearts, Fallen Angels. You get a sampling pretty much everything. The International Submarine Band, the Byrds, the Flying Burrito Brothers, and Graham Parsons solo. This is an amazing collection, and I had to show it to you. 2 CD set. This was a really cool release that year. John Phillips had done a session with Keith Richards and Ronnie Wood and Mick Jagger and Mick Taylor back in 1977, and it was never released until 2001. When they put it out as Pay, Pack, and Follow. I got 2 different versions of it, and this is a really cool release to hear. John Phillips playing with these guys from the Stones, and there's not too many songs on there, 9 on this, but they're all really good. Mr. Blue, She's Just 14, Wilderness of Love, Oh Virginia. I love this album. It's a really cool listen. If you've never heard it, definitely check it out. John Phillips with Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Mick Taylor, produced by Mick and Keith. Finally was put out that year. That's a neat one. R.E.M., I thought, did a great comeback to a certain extent. They did out the album Reveal. Kind of a throwback to what they used to sound like after doing some experimental kind of stuff, and it worked. This is a really, really good R.E.M. album. It is impossible not to love songs like All the Way to Reno and She Just Wants to Be and Initiation of Life. Yeah, this is a really strong, I'll Take the Rain, really great R.E.M. album. Springsteen finally released a live record when he reformed with the E Street Band, and this is Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band live in New York City, and it's okay. You know, I love Springsteen, and for me, he just has never put out like that definitive kind of live album. I know he's got the massive box, but I never really play that too often. And this album's a good performance. It came out on DVD and it was on HBO. But, you know, it's fine for what it is. Great versions of Land of Hope and Dreams and American Skin. Great tracks. You know, all the stuff that's on here is really good, but why is it when I want to hear live Springsteen, I still go to the bootlegs? Because they're better than these official releases, unfortunately. Sting put out a live record. It was supposed to be this big thing, and then unfortunately 9/11 happens, which kind of killed it. But understandably, obviously. But this is a cool live record from Sting, and he covers Police stuff to a certain extent, and a good selection of his solo stuff. Excellent performances. If you want a good Sting live record, that's one. Joe Strummer of The Clash, he put out an interesting one with the Mescaleros called Global A Go-Go, and this was kind of a different one. It was kind of folky. I don't know, a lot of acoustic if I remember right. I haven't heard it in quite a while. But it's really good, but it's not like what you would expect this Joe Strummer, you know, punk rock kind of thing. That's not what this is. World music, you know, folk rock music. Johnny Appleseed, Global Go-Go. It's a good record if you like Joe Strummer. Pete Townsend put out an interesting kind of thing. Pete Townsend and Raphael Rudd, the Oceanic concerts. This is only for you big Pete Townsend fans, but I thought I would show it to you. It's got some acoustic, you know, reworkings of some cool tracks. Tattoo, Little Is Enough, Let My Love Open the Door. Want to show it to you for you Who Townsend fans. That's a deep one. Transatlantic put out their second record, and I like this one. This was more of a band album, I think. You know, you got the Pete Traveris from Marillion and Roy Stoltz from Flower Kings, and of course Neil Morse from Spock's Beard, and then the drummer, of course, legendary, what the hell, drawing a blank, you know, from Dream Theater, one of the greatest drummers of all time. What's his name? Mike Portnoy, there it is. Drawing a blank there. But this was a cool record, Bridge Across Forever, because it was kind of like a band album, you know. It wasn't, sometimes they sounded so Neil Morse heavy that you get the feeling like it's a Spock's Beard album, but this is definitely more of a band album and really extended tracks, you know, 26 minutes, 25 minutes. This is serious progressive rock. This was a great record. Travis, the Invisible Band, Scottish band. And if you don't know them, this is a good one to check out. It's so damn catchy. They're terrific. Sing, Dear Diary, Side. The Humpty Dumpty love song, stupid name, but a great song. A nice short kind of record. They're all winners. This is a great album, and if you don't know them, check them out. Those songs are impossible not to like. Just beautiful. I've done versions of my favorite live albums, and I throw this up there, both acoustically and electrically. This is an amazing live record, acoustically driven from Uriah Heep. I love this live album. They got Ian Anderson guessing on here. A great selection of Uriah Heep, but it's acoustic, and it's killer. And it makes my favorites of 2001. That was a year, of course, of the concert for New York City after 9/11, and they put out this 2 CD set from that concert. And again, a great selection of stuff from the artists that came out, Bowie and Bon Jovi and Billy Joel, and even Mick and Keith came out, did Salt of the Earth. The Who owned that night, man, those three tracks. Who Are You, Baba O'Reilly, Won't Get Fooled Again. I was going to say tough to follow them, but they were great. And McCartney ended it. This is a really special concert from one of the world's worst events, but good rock and roll show for sure. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Double Trouble. This is a really cool 2 CD collection. Live at Montreux, and this is 2 shows. And if you like Stevie Ray, this is great. You got 1982 and what was it? 1985, I think. Great stuff from Stevie Ray Vaughan, Double Trouble. Lucinda Williams, she put out the album. I believe, if memory serves, this was the follow-up from Car Wheels on the Gravel Road, which was one of my favorite albums back then. And Essence, which I thought was a much more lower-key album. It was good. Steal Your Love, I Remember Blue, Envy the Wind, Essence. Not nearly as good as the predecessor, and different kind of a record from Lucinda at that time. Wishbone Ash has 2 of the great live records, Live Dates and Live Dates Volume 2, and they put out Live Dates Volume 3, and it was a good release because they have a lot of different lineups, but Andy Powell had a guy named Mark Birch in the band playing guitar and singing, and Mark Birch could sing. And Andy Powell is not a great singer, so when Andy does all the singing, it gets a little samey. This worked really well, and Ray Weston's a great drummer, and Bob Skeet's been bassing forever. Really good selection of tracks: Living Proof, Persephone, Lifeline, Wings of Desire, Airs of My Way, Leaf and Stream, Throw Down the Sword, FUBB, Phoenix, and Coming from Rain. This is a really good Wishbone Ash live record from a short-lived version of the band. Ronnie Wood released Not for Beginners, and his voice getting more and more Bob Dylan-like, and it's okay. Not a great record, but a decent record. Rock and Roll Stars, the cover. Don't know why it's there. But some good stuff on here. Not nearly as good to me as like the debut or Give Me Some Neck. Speaking of the Stones, Bill Wyman did not one but two, and actually three in a sense. He was working at that time with the Rhythm Kings, a really fun outfit, and they do covers and all great musicians in the band. And Bill Wyman clearly was just having a great time. This is a really good one. Groovin'. You got Gary Brooker and Georgie Fay, Martin Taylor, and Albert Lee. Some really great tracks. That's the, Groovin', Daydream, Put a Spell on You. Just fun stuff to listen to. And then he did a double CD called Double Bill. And it's 2 CDs of more of the same kind of stuff. So if you like this kind of music and just having fun, good stuff from Mr. Bill Wyman. Another collection I'm going to try to show them, but this is kind of like the Graham Parsons one. This is the Yardbirds, Ultimate Yardbirds. This is a great collection that came out there. 2 discs covering their whole career. All you need. This is great, legendary stuff. 2 more albums I'm going to show you guys. Yes released an interesting Yes album that there called Magnification. And it was interesting because they didn't have a keyboard player. They decided to go with an orchestra, and they played live doing that too. So it's a whole different kind of a sound. Some of it's good, some of it's okay, but I will tell you that track right there, In the Presence Of, number 9, man, that is one of the greatest things Yes have ever done. That is classic Yes right there. And if you don't know In the Presence Of, that is, you need to hear that. Time is Time's a really good ending as well. So good stuff from Yes. And finally, Pete Yorn, and he released his debut album, and it was a big hit, and it deserved to be. Music for the Morning After. I got the double special edition, double CD version. Man, this album is just really good. Life on a Chain and Strange Condition. This album did really well at the time, and it deserved it. It's a really strong album from Pete Yorn. So there you have it. That's like 50-something albums plus the box sets. What are the top 10 choices? Number 10 of the year for me, Pete Yorn. And again, this is based on how much I play them. Number 9 was Travis. Where are you, Travis? I highly recommend any of these. Travis, the Invisible Band. This is another, like I said, great album. Number 8 was Mick Jagger and Goddess in the Doorway. An album that people love to trash. It's half great, half good. Number 7, R.E.M. To me, they came back to form in a big way with the album Reveal. At number 6, Bob Dylan. The follow-up to Time Out of Mind, Love and Theft. Real good record from Bob Dylan. At number 5, shockingly to a lot of people, but Elton John came back in a big way, and he released Songs from the West Coast. This is a really, really good Elton John album. If you like that classic Elton John sound from like the early 70s, and you do, that's really strong. Number 4 was Uriah Heep, their live acoustically driven album. If you don't like Uriah Heep, you don't know Uriah Heep, this is a good way to investigate that. Where do we got left before this thing collapses? Hopefully not. At number 3, we got Ash. Not Wishbone Ash. Ash. Free All Angels. Go check out. You'll thank me. Shining Light. Burn Baby Burn. Candy. Someday. Sometimes. The rest of the album's great too. Great melodic, punkish pop rock. At number 2, Ryan Adams and Gold. I think it's still his best album to this day. Really prolific artist, but that's a really good one. And what's the #1 album of the year for me from 2001? Shelby Lynn. I don't care what anybody says. Trust me, play this album. You'll thank me. It's great. Shelby Lynn, love Shelby. Just a terrific, terrific album. I played it to death. I still play it. And no offense, not to be sexist, the cover looks pretty good too. So there you go. Love Shelby, my #1 album of the year in 2001. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little long, but I just showed you a lot of music to check out. Like I said, thanks for tuning in. Please hit subscribe. Please check out my other videos. This is a good series. It's called Time Capsule. You can literally go year to year, and I physically show you the best albums, according to me, stuff that I own and have heard a ton of times, and then I rank them. And I'm going to keep doing this series. Eventually, I'll have every single year from 1971 through the present day. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you on the next video.